It means to set it apart. It means to invest it with far more. And then he broke it. So there is something you have. There is something I have. If you are a pastor, it may be diminished congregation. If you are a businessman, diminished business, goods and services, or resources, or capital. Probably these months of staying at home, you've just consumed your capital. Your working capital is gone. And you have just something little left. And you're not sure, can I start my business all over again? Can I start church all over again? Can I start my school all over again? Can I start whatever you're doing? Can I start it all over again? How am I going to make it again? How am I going to recover what I've lost? But this is all you have. It's not your fault that this is all you have. This is all you have because you are in a deserted place. Time is against you, but God left you something in your hand. What if there was no boy with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish? But thank God there was one person who had not eaten his lunch. For 3 days he's been holding his lunch. Others had eaten theirs, but this boy had not eaten his. So look into your hands. There is something that has not been eaten. There's something that has not gone. There's something that has not left. It may be a building. It may be a land. It may be some money. It may be a relationship. It may be a contact. Whatever it is, it was not eaten. It's still in your hands. And you have to trust God with it. It's a radical faith. It's radical faith. It's not wishy-washy faith. It is totally abandoning yourself on the Lord. And say, Lord, this is all I have. I place it in your hands. Jesus Christ himself says, except a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it abides alone. But when it falls to the ground and it dies, it will germinate and it will bear much fruit. When you put it in his hands, it is died from you, but alive in his hands. And he will cause it to germinate. Now I want you to just look at the resource, the 5 loaves of bread. In the hands of the boy, it was just 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, very limited and inferior. In your hands, it's limited, inferior. In the hands of the boy, it's limited, inferior. In the hands of Jesus, it is celebrated. It is not despised. Jesus blessed it. And the Lord will bless what you give to him. Then Jesus didn't keep it in his hands. He lifted up into the Father's hands. In the hands of the Father, it transformed from inferior, limited, to expensive, unlimited. Then Jesus took it back and he released it in the disciples' hands. In the disciples' hands, it was multiplied. And in the hands of the people, it's satisfied. Many times I've pictured what this miracle looked like. The reason why it's the only miracle that is narrated by all the 4 Gospels is because so many people were there. Thousands of people, they saw it, and I can imagine the people who went out talking about it. Do you know what happened today? We were in the wilderness, and Jesus had only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, and look, he fed all of us. Thousands of people reported that. It was a miracle that could not be avoided. Most of the miracles of Jesus happened to one person at a time. One blind person, one lame person, one mute person, or a small family. But this was thousands, all not spectating, but benefiting from the miracle. In the hands of Jesus, it changed. So I've always wondered, how could it be? So this is what in my mind I picture. Jesus, the boy has 5 loaves of bread, 2 fish. Jesus takes it. It's still 5 loaves of bread, 2 fish. He lifts it to God and prays. It's still 5 loaves of bread, 2 fish. He brings it down. It's 5 loaves of bread, 2 fish. Nothing has changed. If you're looking at it, you would say, well, no miracle has happened. But he gives it to his disciples, and that is when the multiplication starts. So he gives it to Peter. Peter, take this bread and distribute here. And Peter goes, he breaks a part of bread, and the bread fills up. He breaks, and it fills up. He breaks. Andrew is breaking, and it's filling up. It's breaking, and it's filling up. So you never see the miracle until it leaves Jesus' hands, and you start applying it. You start using it. That is when the multiplication takes place. You're not going to end up with one day you look at yourself and say, oh, look at it, I have 1,000 loaves. No. It is when you use those 50 cedis, that 100 cedis, that little thing you have, that God starts the multiplication process. So after you have committed it to him, you've arranged the people, use what you have. The multiplication starts when you use what you have committed to the Lord. And so they continue going, continues going. 5,000 people are fed. And these are men who are hungry. Some of them hungry for three days. I'm sure they went for second helping and third helping. And they ate more fish and more bread. And when they saw more was coming, they were eating the more. And knowing how this society was, I'm sure everybody had belly full. Now when they couldn't eat any longer, they dropped what they had in their hands. And there were an overflow. 12 baskets, huge baskets of what was not eating. Wow. Can he do that today? He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So I'm speaking to us on all levels. For us as a nation, the little we have to restart. We have to organize well. We have to trust God with it. And it will feed the people. We can have restoration. For big industries, I've heard companies go bankrupt. That is heartbreaking. Sometimes I wish those people knew the Lord and trusted him a little bit more. But their balance sheet was their faith, and they shut down. But there are companies that have been reduced to almost nothing who are about to bounce back. For families, you've eaten all your savings, but there is something left. God will use it. For individuals, God will use it. For small-time businessmen, you operate a kiosk, or you carry your business on your head, or you have a tabletop, and everything seems to have been gone. But if you trust him, not just a religious trust, but a radical faith trust, that you can trust that God will take the little you have and multiply it. If there is any time we have trusted God, this is the time.